Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Quake World Championships 2017, presented by AMD. We are at the final part of our second day. Of course, the grand finals for Sacrifice and Duel tomorrow. But next up is the last semi-final decide, a grand finalist. It's vo versus DaHang, two players who have met before. They were informing me reliably some 7 years ago. They remember it vividly, I'm told, as well. We're going to get a few words with both of them. Firstly, Tim, head-to-head with this guy, he's obviously a bit of a legend. He's been around forever, same as yourself. You've been in QuakeCon finals. You know how to win in teams as well. How are you going to use all of that experience to take this man down?
I mean, just focus on the game, let the experience just take care of itself, and, you know, just execute.
Special treatment, obviously, for Rafa early. You knew how you wanted to play against him. Anything planned for this man?
Nothing planned. It's going to be moment to moment, whatever happens.
All right, best of luck. Sander, obviously, great performance so far to get to the semi-finals. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it's great to see you in good form in a game like this. We were talking before, it's 2005, incredibly, since you won a tournament. You're overdue, sir.
Yeah, it's been a while, and yeah, I'm ready for the match.
Okay, again, you know, you were telling me earlier how you were disappointed to lose against this guy last time because it was 5 seconds and he stole a frag off you. How do you guys remember this stuff?
That was actually my best Quake Live performance, so I remember it because I was really close to making a final and playing against Rafa in New York. But yeah, I mean, these are just close, tense matches that I tend to remember.
All right, well, best of luck to both of you, gents. Enjoy your semi-final. It's vo versus DaHang, and it's coming next.
The old blood, the Quake 3 veterans, and I think there's a lot to discuss about these two. You know, DaHang earlier in an interview with Paul said straight up, quote, "I don't like playing against Anarchy." Well, newsflash, that's one of vo's favorite characters to play with, and given his Quake history and CPMA and some of the faster movement type modes, it's kind of right up his alley. Now, additionally, as far as I know, DaHang doesn't really play Sorlak, which we've seen other players kind of, I mean, in the past matches. I would guess this is something he brings out today, but I want to pose this question to the panel. Like, what do you feel like DaHang needs to do to secure? We know what he is sort of not wanting to deal with, and that is sort of the speed and the style that vo brings with Anarchy. But what do you think overall? What does DaHang need to do?
Well, I think he needs to play his game, as he just said. I think DaHang has a very good controlled style, the way he takes care of the map, and he plays very intelligent. So I think, you know, as an Anarchy running around, try to set some traps. You know, try to run him into a rocket. Really take that Anarchy. If you can slow him down, make that Anarchy think twice about flying around the map, that's part of the battle, you know. So I think DaHang just really needs to play a mentally sharp game and just control the map.
Yeah, I think also having not really been picking that much Sorlak is interesting because it's been such a strong part of the meta these days. So it's nice to see someone bringing a lot of that slash, bringing his own other champions into the game. But one thing that's been said, actually ZSX telling me, is just the way that DaHang is so good at the fundamentals of the game.
It's true.
Controlling the map, the items, working around it, and creating those solid routes to travel around the map. It's definitely something that's hard to break once you're in that kind of momentum.
Yeah, and I mean, each player probably wants to play the champion lineup that is going to be the most comfortable to them. So it's certainly not something you could fault a player for, but, you know, given the results that we've seen and what we feel like has been powerful here in the games, I'm not sure what he's going to bring to the table. It could certainly surprise us as well. I'm sure that he has thought about this going into the final. But being up on stage and saying, hey, I'm not looking forward to that Anarchy, like, that kind of gives vo a little, okay, well, there's some confidence there for me. But here we've got the maps, too. Let's talk about that. We've got Blood Run for vo, Ruins for DaHang. Corrupted keep the final map based off of DaHang's previous matchup with Rafa. Not surprised to see that pick. What do you guys think about the map pips real quick? Vic?
Well, both of them are going to have a lot of experience on Blood Run, so I'm curious to see who takes this first map. Blood Run's been in the Quake community for a long time, so I think whoever gets off to a good start here in this match is you know, as you gain momentum is a big deal. So I think getting off to a good start in Blood Run's important.
All right, we've got to throw it over. We're about to get into the action, so let's kick it off to the casters.
Thank you very much. It's going to be so awesome to see vo back in such a position against the likes of DaHang. Two legends here battling it out. We're going to start off on Blood Run, indeed a classic map here for the Quake series. Now, who will get the opening advantage? DaHang with a nice rail from the high ground, looking to control the situation. That's something that Machiavelli and Des were talking about. And speaking of control, 2 rails will give you that.
not a bad start, I have to say that. I will say
The double back, no. Oh my goodness, Vu. Completely read like a book.
completely read. I was about to say that I was going to think that DaHang is going to have a hard time against this composition given his own lineup, but if you're going to read your opponent like that, life becomes a little bit easier.
Great stuff here from DaHang so far. The fall up there onto Anarchy is very good. So damaging. One rail should do the trick. Vu is certainly in a very tough predicament here, but he's quite difficult to hit with an Anarchy. Such a small player model, very thin and lean, but still DaHang still finding not too much trouble in connecting the rails he needs to so far to really just create a situation where Vu is just on the back foot for the entirety of this start.
I like the way DaHang is playing this very much. And it's an exceptionally effective way to play against an Anarchy in that you're taking these strong fighting positions so that the Anarchy has to come to you rather than being caught off guard when you're trying to chase him or rushing around the map on your own accord. You're playing it slow, very much like we saw Cooler in the previous game on Blood Covenant playing against Claws. Taking nice strong positions where if the Anarchy comes to you like this, then you can do a lot of damage.
Oh man, this is really dangerous here. The rail comes out close range. You never like to see that. Forced into a horrible engagement, and Vu is going to swing things back into his hands. And just as you said, we had a really good display of DaHang controlling Vu, preventing that speed from doing too much. But Vu now has to be very clever not to get caught off guard, as DaHang just did with that Galena of his. And Vu looking to try to get himself onto that heavy, using the movement speed here. Great engagement found with the LG. A kill straight onto the Galena, and now that spells trouble here for DaHang.
And this was what we talked about earlier in the day when we saw Vu playing on the mainstream, is that with the Anarchy, you can play a nice high-risk, high-reward situation where most other champions could not push into that red armor. So the Anarchy could and got away with a kill in addition.
So now things slow down somewhat as Vu becomes more static, looking for that information, which he will find. Seeing his opponent DaHang on the low ground towards the LG. And here goes the drop. Good rocket there from DaHang, keeping Vu at arm's length, but will it be enough here? The LG comes out, great Darrow onto that mega help. That's such a strong move. Now Vu back on the back foot as the rocket jump comes in here from the Ranger. That reduced damage from projectiles, sub-projectiles, very helpful. And DaHang will finish Vu off. He trapped him in a corner. Beautiful passage of play there from DaHang.
Something that DaHang does very well. Look, moving in aggressively, he doesn't know.
This is very, very problematic here. DaHang, though, still remains strong. Able to survive all the tricksy play there from the Dutchman. I think the Flying Dutchman is definitely a tagline that you can attach to Vu.
Yeah, something DaHang does very well, and this is what he spoke about extensively in his Quake Live days, is that he bases all of his decisions off of timing. And he seems to have increased that capability to play very tactful with information based on his opponent. So he's playing cautiously and around the information he has, and those decisions dictating why he's doing so successfully.
And this is a very nice engagement with the LG there for DaHang, really just throwing Vu all the way back to the other side of the map here as he retreats, trying to collect the health and armor to stack back up. And it does really look quite awkward in some spots for Vu to get that speed that we saw Claws being able to get in his engagements against Kula.
Exactly, and DaHang is just trying to trap the Anarchy in these choke points so that if you do that, it's extremely difficult to get away. Nice rocket there coming out from DaHang.
And it's also quite cool to see that we're not having DaHang, thinking, oh, everybody else is playing Sorlag. Maybe I should, throw a Sorlag in there just because, everyone else seems to be playing it really well. But sticking to his guns here. Oh, that's a great catch here. Reading the sound and understanding how to place the rockets. Vu lucky to be alive still.
I like that he's playing to what he is comfortable with. It's not, yes, the Sorlag is extremely strong and people have gone out their way to learn it, but if you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to be successful. So play what you are good with and base your game around that.
Vu's in a fairly decent position at the moment with a good chunk of armor. Something that DaHang can't save for himself. Right now he is one rail away from death, although that light pickup will keep him away from that situation now, but it is only a mere 25 points of armor.
And this matchup's quite interesting because they're obviously both quite nimble, lightweight champions, and I feel against the Anarchy, you want to use the Ghost Walker aggressively because...
Great double back there from the Anarchy of Vu. Again, using that movement speed to great effect. It actually did work, but he didn't get quite the amount of damage that he perhaps wanted onto DaHang. And DaHang playing this very cautiously here. Quite quite cautious indeed, because he understands that, as we've seen, vo wants to get that really fast engagement. He wants to get the catch here on the Anarchy. That's a great opening rail. Forced to go for the Ghost Walk here and drop onto light, but vo will back away as well.
And I like this already, that in the second round, it feels that vo has adjusted his own game style. He started extremely quickly, trying to pressure DaHang around the map, and that didn't pay off. So he realized what DaHang was doing in playing these nice tactful corner game, and he himself has adjusted by backing off and playing slightly more tactful, slowing the game down to a pace he is comfortable with, where he knows he is safe. And again, I think it's just going to come down to rails and the opening and engagements where you're able to push in and using that speed both from the Ghost Walk of the Nyx, but also of the Anarchy. So it's about who can hit that opening rail and then follow up effectively.
So there's two rails back-to-back pretty much for DaHang as he goes for the heavy. vo going for a quick double back there, trying to get a lick of damage onto DaHang. Not all that successful ultimately, as DaHang can easily stack back up here, but he is forced to go for those health bubbles, and that does give vo some breathing time to try to reposition, to try to heal up himself, but he's really sorely lacking armor at the moment, just a mere 25. The next lights there in the upper position will be able to help him out somewhat as he goes back towards the heavy position, looking for DaHang. Who's going to make the next committed move here is very difficult. Now, especially that DaHang knows exactly where vo is. vo can't work the element of surprise just yet.
It was a crucial rail coming out from vo there, otherwise it would have been lights out because DaHang was just preparing to drop and vo would have been defenseless.
Once again, we can see both players in somewhat of a stalemate at the moment, just both trying to catch each other off guard. This could be a good trap here if vo starts committing into this mega side of the map. Beautiful stuff there, the timing absolutely impeccable there from DaHang as he forces vo back once again. Now, how can DaHang close an engagement off of this? He's going to press the big reset button, and once again, it's going to be a game of hide and seek.
And vo, at the same time as he loves to play an aggressive game, we were speaking about before, it's all in that mindset. He does what is necessary to win, and if he has to play slow, he will do that. And that's what he's doing here. He's not afraid to keep playing, essentially playing the clock. He doesn't care if it goes into overtime as long as it's even. He's more than happy to go extremely patient, but moving in with the Ghost Walk, extremely nice play for coming out from DaHang.
Very aggressive move, really almost finishing off vo, down to 29, but not quite enough. And perhaps next time.
The game resets because in Quake Champions, it's even more vital to finish off your opponent, both with their abilities down now. They can't really or don't want to commit only with 20 seconds left, both at relatively full stacks. It's going to be, again, a nice slow game. I've been very impressed with the way in which DaHang has been utilizing that Ghost Walk aggressively. And as I was saying before, I like that against an Anarchy because you can catch him off guard. It's not often you need to use it on the defense.
Oh, great rocket.
Lovely.
Oh, that's absolutely phenomenal stuff there from vo. That flick shot. Oh, my goodness gracious me. That is one way to end a round. And we reach 1-1.
Shake of the head from DaHang, but what can you do when that happens with basically a full rocket and an incredible flick from vo?
Reminds me of his CPM days. If you watch his CPM movie, that's just what that movie was entirely full of.
It was masterful play.
And that's going to be a great chunk of momentum and some additional confidence for vo to play with as he is going to be playing very patiently. Now selecting the Sorlang to open with.
Yeah, I was about to mention the fact that he wasn't really content playing that matchup against the Nyx because he never felt safe to push in, and DaHang was doing a really, really important but good job at hitting crucial rails, which stopped vo in his tracks and made him on the back foot. Now with the Sorlag, he has the opportunity to go back to that aggressive style he likes. And speaking to him earlier, he finds the Sorlag probably this is the most effective map for him and this character.
Oh, forcing the Ghost Walk there. DaHang's timing not quite perfect, but can the Ghost Walk for the telly be enough? It looks like the Rockets will keep vo away for now. He goes for the re-engage. He knows how much damage he has done, and that's going to force the Acid Spit as well, as vo is trying to play defensively on the back foot once again. Really quick stuff there from DaHang to turn the tables, and both running into each other. Awkward, the Rockets could make the difference, but it's the LG instead from DaHang to electrocute vo and take that Sorlag out of the picture, and it's a quick action off the spawn here as the Rockets from vo are stunning there as DaHang goes for that mega.
Amazing play coming out from both. As we spoke about in the previous series, the one problem with the Sorlag is, yes, she's got a massive stack, but it takes such a long time to get it up if you are low, and DaHang understanding exactly what vo needed, aggressively moved on the health bubbles. At the same time, vo off the spawn knew the mega was up, and that's exactly what DaHang wanted. So important and crucial reads coming out from both players so far.
Great pick up there for vo, able to get that Mega under his belt.
The difference now is that there is no Nyx for DaHang, which means vo can go even more aggressive because there is not that Ghost Walk backup, and he doesn't have to be as scared as he was before. On the other hand, we saw the totems are extremely influential, and if an Anarchy runs across one, it does a lot of damage, so he has to be extremely aware when he's going around at 300 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have to see if how used to playing against a style like that vo actually is. There has been a lot of Galenas here and there. I think Cypher already popularized it some time ago. So vo should have enough experience to understand how it impacts strategy.
In the regionals on this map as well, we saw him running into multiple totems, costing him the game against Kilson. So he's had experience. Hopefully he's learned from the pain.
And that is causing things to slow down somewhat.
Yeah, we
Totem there for DaHang to play defensively with.
DaHang is playing this game very, very well. In a similar vein to Cooler in the previous game, he's working off the information he has on vo. And that's, as we said, with an Anarchy, that's probably the most crucial thing to do. You must know where your opponent is, and that's why he's trying to stick to these corridors, stick to these choke points. So if vo does turn up, the fight is generally in your favor with the bigger stack.
And Galena not having all those movement options does definitely mean you have to plan your sort of battle much better. Like, where you're going to have the fight, are you going to have the totems available?
Absolutely.
Set it all up first.
You do not have a get-out clause with any movement, with any ability. Your only situation is to fight, so you have to make sure that you play with exceptional positional awareness. And again, against the Anarchy speed, that's difficult. This is why it's been so slow right now.
Yeah, smart pick from DaHang to go to the Galena after losing his opening champion. And really just throwing the question down to vo. Can you deal with this? Do you know how to attack into me? And obviously both players are in a position where they are down a champion each, so it's even neither wants to get too aggressive here and give away that champion or give away a potential lead to their opponent on the champions.
Well, DaHang has timing on the red armor now, so it might be that he tries to put out damage there. We also saw the use of the sound cues coming out from DaHang as he pushed in because he knew where vo was going, out the teleporter, unfortunately missing the rockets, but it's nice solid play. There we go, trying to pressure the red, but coming with the lightning gun.
Oh, he's going up the jump pad. Looks like vo doesn't want any of it, though. Ooh, that's a close rail. Does miss. Oh, and there it is, the totem. We'll run into it, though. vo with the rockets backing away. That's exactly what he had to do. DaHang so close, but the Galena's out the picture, and now vo, he can get the nitrous oxide. He can hit that button, he can get the speed up, and really play the pace he wants to again against the Ranger.
And the pace is slow. I will expect it to just sit by this teleporter. Classic blood run play here. This is what we see from time and time again from the 90s onwards. Defending on ZTN on Blood Run is so easy.
Yep, time is of the essence. 3 seconds to go, and looks like vo is safe. Oh, that moment with the Galena out the teleporter. I was so worried that for vo that he would just walk straight into that totem. DaHang set it up perfectly. He played so well, but Quake, comes down to the smallest margins.
You see there, it was a slight. DaHang knew exactly what was happening in that game, but he just was not prepared for the raw speed coming out of the Anarchy. vo unfortunately missing the red armor, and it was just the speed of the Anarchy where DaHang could not get set up in time. It was the right decision, but just not the right timing.
And DaHang's Nyx will pick up that heavy armor, which vo did miss, as you said. So vo's definitely going to be a bit sad about that. And he's also going to realize that he has to play quite defensively here as well. And that's a decent enough rocket there from vo, but he's going to be very careful of the potential for Nyx to get aggressive.
For sure, but at the same time, the difficulty with this matchup is the Nyx has to be extremely careful because that spit, nice rail, that spit does an extraordinary amount of damage to a Nyx. And if the Ghost Walk isn't up, which obviously cleanses it, you're always going to be very, very risky. So it is a massive risk assessment when you're playing aggressive with the Ghost Walk against the Sorlag.
And positionally speaking here right now, vo's not in the best place. You can see he's trying to fake a rocket jump to trick his opponent and give himself a way out here because he's sort of trapped in this corner. If he goes across towards the telly, he could take a rail, and so you can see he's able to just actually trying to drop in and try to pressure onto the heavy, rather the Mega, and he will get some damage with the nail gun, but generally speaking, you would say that Nyx came out quite well from that engagement.
And there's a lot of respect being shown by vo here. We have seen in the past the Sorlag, as soon as you get any semblance of stack just to go absolute all-out aggression, but we've seen that DaHang's positioning and awareness of that has been great, and Vu's recognized that and is playing slightly more reserved than we would see him do against other opponents.
Again, it's quite quiet on the map right now. DaHang waits to get the information, and he will whiff 2 rails there. And Vu looking to get aggressive. He's going to go for the rocket jump up onto the bridge, trying to pressure into DaHang, but can't quite find the shots that he needs. And DaHang gets another opportunity here, but good predictive rockets, and you can see just generally how squishy Nyx is. That one bad rocket, and you're in a horrible spot there, using the blood there to sort of heal up.
Both players playing very tactful. DaHang trying to get a sneaky rail on Vu on the red armor, but at the same time, Vu knowing that DaHang had timing on the heavy, was spamming the one area where the Nyx was going to be. So, awesome play.
Oh, that LG damage is pretty strong there. Vu unable to get what he wanted from that. Quick aggression. Oh, again, really nice defensive play here. But this is the stack you were talking about. Gets there heavy with off the rocket jump. So even though it looks like, you know, Vu's taking all this damage, it's really DaHang that's in such a precarious position. Good first rocket. Can he follow it up? Another one, but it's not going to be enough here, as we have Vu quite healthy at the end of that one, able to take down DaHang and push him back onto the Galena.
What a read. Knowing the Ghost Walk was down, knowing what DaHang had to do in that position. Solag healthy from the previous engagement, pushing in and almost nullifying that stack with the Mega from a nice rocket as well.
So Vu's in a pretty strong position right now. And of course, he is 1 round away from taking the map, so DaHang, all the pressure's really on him at this point. As Vu speeds around the map there.
Yeah, 3 minutes 10, 1 champion down. As we said before, Vu is a man who does what's needed to be done. He is, I would again not expect him to go aggressive. It's kind of that in-between moment where another kill can secure you the game almost certainly, but at the same time, is it worth the risk for you exposing yourself with 1 minute?
Would you have
30?
preferred a Ranger pick instead of Galena? Because you presume that Galena is going to be stronger to play sort of defensively. If we have Vu playing the defensive style, being like, I'm a champion up, I don't have to come to you, then surely Galena is going to be a hard pick.
I absolutely agree with that. And I don't know how much thought went into the process. Sometimes as a Quaker, you know, it's just that natural, that this is always my second pick. So, yeah, I think the Ranger could be, because it also has the instant turnaround, but at the same time, we have to work with the Galena.
And here goes the trap. The first rock is pretty decent here, but the acid spit in defense is critically strong, and that's going to be enough to burn away DaHang. Vu is in a phenomenally strong position, down to the last champion. Time is really against DaHang. Everything's against DaHang here on this map now.
Once again, we're going to go back to some defensive play on Blood Run, and this is what we were talking about. Vu playing nice and safe, doing what needed to be done. DaHang had to make the movement. And this defensive position by the jump pad here, he knows exactly where DaHang is going to come from. If he comes from the other side, he'll do some damage and back off. If he comes through that corridor, he's almost going to die. And it's so difficult to do anything with your DaHang, and so frustrating at the same time. But this is exactly what Vu needs to do at this point in the game. He has to spit up as well, which makes this next attack so difficult. He has 15 seconds to do 2 champions.
And Vu looks to be in a very strong position. 10 seconds to go. Can DaHang get anything to work with through the choke point? Vu not quite hitting the perfect LG, but he's got the acid spit to back away with. Great stuff there. Good defensive rockets, and Vu will secure himself map 1 in the semi-final.
I am so impressed at both players and how composed they are. This is a semi-final of QuakeCon, the biggest tournament Quake has ever seen, and they are both playing out of their minds. It was crazy, the decision-making that was going on, and the patience and the tactful kind of back and forth. It was really interesting, intriguing to watch. Going into the second map.
Here is the rocket kill again.
Which I believe is
from
Ruins.
Vu. Ooh, that's so,
Wow.
that is sexy, sexy Quake there from Vu, and that is what he's known for.
I think that hit his toe. That was no wonder. No wonder there was a shake of head with DaHang. I would be pretty annoyed if that was pulled out on me.
Man, I think that might be one of the sexiest, you know, rocket pop to flick rails I've seen in quite some time.
So is that better than the flick rail we saw earlier? The one that was your moment at the tournament?
Well, that rail sort of kept Rafa in it. That was sort of more monumental in that fact. Obviously, this was pretty a big deal as well. But
that was a turning point.
But as far as, you know, pop rocket to rail goes, I'm going to give you that one.
That was the end. That was 4 minutes 57.
Don't make me choose, man.
That was 4 minutes 57 on a round that was kind of tying them together.
You put me in this position. It's an impossible one.
It's not. Just say Bruce was more important. Anyway, we're going into Ruins. What are your expectations going into this, and what do you think DaHang can do to turn it around?
Well, as you said, vo is really good at basically reading his opponents, understanding what style he has to play, and not being too committed to the style that he wants to play, because he understands what is necessary. And so right now, DaHang's in this interesting position where he's able to actually, in a lot of spots, as we saw Cooler against Claus, sort of outsmart vo, sort of play against the speed that vo is playing with, against the style that vo is playing with. But at the same time, vo is he's just very good. I mean, the thing is that you can sort of understand what your opponent's doing, but if they're just super damn good at the game, you have to be able to, you have to pull that extra bit out.
In my opinion, we saw at the start DaHang taking an early advantage because vo was going aggressive. And as soon as it took one round, this is what really amazes me about vo. It took one round for him to say, okay, that did not work. DaHang is doing X. DaHang is playing passive. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to play passive. I'm going to play safer. DaHang then, for me, didn't respond. It was a good play style from DaHang, but it wasn't succeeding. I would like to have seen him pick up the pace against vo, who was making the necessary adjustments. He even changed his picks his pick order throughout the game. For this, now we see a slash. We saw it on the pick screen just now. We see a slash from DaHang. I would love to see him utilizing the speed against vo and saying, hey, maybe it's just for one round, saying, can you handle this? Testing the waters. This is one of the great things about the round-based system is you can test different things as we go through the map, and I would love to see DaHang try a different way of approaching the game.
So fight fire with fire is what you're saying.
Yeah, essentially. vo, can you I'll match you at your own game. What have you got?
Okay, we've got DaHang here with position on the LG, sort of guarding at the moment. He's got the rail as well, looking to try to just beat vo to the punch there, understanding that vo sort of knew that he was just sitting on the LG, so trying to take another approach. vo slightly too quick, and that's always going to be an issue when you're up against the Anarchy. DaHang there with this Nyx in position for the Mega, and he will collect it. vo, no challenge so far.
No. Cautious game coming out for both as they both look to get a decent stack, but also, more importantly, pick up all the relevant weapons they need. And that's one of the problems and one of the issues on this map is that the rocket launcher and the tracking items, the lightning gun and the railgun, are so far away from each other that occasionally you can get caught trying to get one or the other. So it's always a cautious opening on Ruins.
DaHang going for the aggressive Ghost Walk. Playing on a read, and it might just be fantastic here. Some good rockets. The combo is made, showing vo that he can do it too. But the problem is, again, Nyx very squishy. He got left quite low there. He can't go for the close, and that does allow vo to get away, to reset the situation somewhat. But DaHang is trying to place himself in a sneaky position here to connect something. We'll run straight into vo though. Good rocket from vo, 50 damage there. Nice chunk of damage done to that Nyx. Once again, very tentative stuff between these two players.
Yeah, and what vo does extremely well is he knows when to push aggressively and when not to. That's pretty much his greatest strength, and without his own ability up, it's very much like the Nyx Ghost Walk, the Anarchy heal. Without that, then he's not going to really try and put himself in any precarious situation.
And right now he's in a spot where he thinks, okay, maybe I have a window here. I've just picked up the Heavy, just picked up the Mega, but both are decaying at this point. So he's sort of lost that initial edge that he had.
We can see on the wall hack screen there, which only we can see, the DaHang is sneaking around the map, again playing quiety.
Oh, that's a good Ghost Walk here. Will vo know what's going on here? But he's still... Oh, that's a really nice use or turn of direction there with the air control there from vo, showing that he's indeed the master of movement as he's got DaHang now. He's out-positioning him towards that Heavy, which he did actually leave up in favor of going for the pursuit against DaHang. So DaHang has done well there and put himself in a more even footing on the stacks as vo goes for some pressure with the lightning gun here on this Mega Health. Good timing onto this fight as DaHang takes incredible amounts of damage. vo knows he can finish it off, but there's a Ghost Walk there to delay things.
Milliseconds. It literally just came off cooldown.
Very tight. And vo really needs this Heavy. DaHang's going to realize this though, but he's not going to feel confident with his stack to go for a challenge.
And especially with the Ghost Walk on cooldown, that is exactly why vo knew it was a safe item to take, and even probably the Mega Health as well. There's no real chance for DaHang to pressure this.
vo with another pickup of the Mega here. He might just find himself the fight. He needs forces to Ghost Walk. His stack is still actually very good here. So without the Ghost Walk, vo and having the inject, he's in a really good stead to take the fight and try to push it. And he's going to try to do just that. Misses the flick rail though, as DaHang escapes vo once again.
And that was a perfect example of vo's combat awareness of when to push, because He rushed in knowing the Ghost Walk was on cooldown. He missed a rail, and that was the opportunity wasted. A lot of players might have pushed in and could have died. So awesome patience coming out from you, from vo with stern mental fortitude.
Yeah, he's in a great spot now. You can see he's just running the map. He continually has the health and armor advantage. And generally speaking, we see this cycle where he'll then find, okay, I'll get an engagement, I'll force a Ghost Walk, but he can't quite find the finish, and then DaHang is smart enough to stay alive, and then we get the same cycle again and again.
Exactly.
So what is there to break the pattern? Could be the rocket jump engagement, but vo has suffered quite a lot here in this initial push, and he's going to be really careful. Does get the Mega though, but DaHang is fighting back, lands some good damage here. vo not strong enough to go for a committed play, but maybe he's going to catch him. Oh, the rocket could have been fantastic. Follows it up there through the telly. The rockets aren't going to work for vo, and once again, DaHang, he might be able to sneak away. Still, though, keeping the pressure on, but vo wants to take the items. Very smart turn of events there from vo.
Yeah, I was almost certain he was going to push him for a kill, but now he can.
Going for it with that LG. DaHang forced to use the Ghost Walk once again. vo still with good stack here. Rocket does the job! Prevents the escape once more through the telly. vo's had enough of that, and now he has that champion advantage.
What a read from vo. He knew exactly where the Ghost Walk in Nyx was going to go.
No time as well. 5 seconds to go. This is a very horrible situation here for DaHang. vo, what brilliant play. What composure. DaHang kept disappearing on the map, yet somehow he kept to his game plan. His focus was razor sharp.
Composure is the word. I think DaHang needs to mix up. He couldn't even have a presence on the map. He barely picked up a major item. He was always on the back foot. vo was doing the perfect rotation of items, perfectly moving around the map freely. There was not a care in the world, and DaHang couldn't do anything. I would love to see him mix it up and go for the slash, and that's what he's done.
vo here, oh, it's going to find the slash straight away. But
Nice.
it's the LG as he was popped up in the air, which allowed him to take the frag regardless. So brilliant start back here, and an energetic start from DaHang with that slash.
Slightly fortunate, but it pays off, and let's see what he can do with this slash. I do enjoy watching slash.
Yeah, it was a great treat that we were able to experience from Claws earlier. His slash is so amazing to watch. Brilliant movement, and DaHang, again, a player that was very adept. Some of his best results in his career were in Quake 4, where you had the crouch sliding movement of slash. And now trying to see if he can get a trap going, and there it is. vo will be able to evade the direct rocket just barely, but still good damage done here by DaHang, but he is quite low.
Aggressive.
Oh, great re-engage coming in from vo, and there's nothing that DaHang can do to stop that one.
What an amazing turn of events. vo not seeing the slash reappear on the bottom of the jump pad, knowing exactly where he was, and DaHang completely unaware of what's going on.
Good flick rail. vo in a position here. He needs to make sure he's not too hasty though. And he will back away. Kind of forced to as well, but the damage done by DaHang defensively.
And vo feels more comfortable. Obviously now 1-1, he is on even keel, and so will just bide his time to rebuild a stack before pushing in again. But we're back at the situation now where this time DaHang has a get out clause in the Ghost Walk, and so priority number 1 is always to try and force that out.
Gets quite tense here, and good damage done by DaHang. He keeps the pressure up. And this is one of those things, you know, as you say, I think vo really does start to feel quite confident on the map. But you have to make sure that confidence does not get the better of you. You don't open up angles which you previously weren't when you're giving your opponent a bit more respect.
Yeah, and the problem DaHang has here is that the items are split by just enough for vo to get on both, and so he really is in a difficult situation.
Great movement there from vo in fight to actually evade the rockets and keep the damage up to take away the item. A small thing, but vo is playing remarkably well at the moment. DaHang really looks like he's on the back foot continually.
Yeah, and the next red could be a problem if DaHang wants to push him, because he does not know it's been delayed. Although he does know the time of the Mega, but once again, not healthy enough to push in.
And vo with that champion advantage doesn't have to rush too much. Oh, sorry, it's actually even on the champions, but forcing the Ghost Walk out. Oh, no! I didn't think it was going to happen, but that's absolutely gutting there for vo.
God, the one drawback of being a fat lizard is you have a bigger hitbox.
Oh my goodness, he's going to be... I mean, this is the situation where, you know, vo is a player that could be in a practice game or, you know, not in a tournament environment, quick to be a bit frustrated by that. But when you see tournament vo, he's definitely quite good at keeping himself composed. And we get a fight here straight out the teleporter now, but it's going to be going to vo. That is definitely how you want to come back into it after suffering a telefrag in such a manner.
Yeah, and he could kill him.
This could indeed go the way of vo. He could close this one down for the second round to take an even bigger lead here. Of course, let's not forget, he's already got map 1 under his belt here in the semi-final.
Yeah, and the previous kill, after being so cautious for almost a round and a half, he had already utilized Ghost Walk and get stuck in a situation where he should not have won.
Oh no, this is so problematic. vo. Great bit of damage done by DaHang. He knows he can press the advantage. vo on 1 HP, how on earth is he alive? Oh my goodness, he somehow escaped there with 1.
Nice.
Oh, that is absolutely disgusting there from vo. If DaHang only knew how close he was.
That was almost deja vu, coming out of a teleporter fight without the Ghost Walk and with no right to win it, but to finish off, look at this mask. Oh, that's a great row.
It's almost as though vo has destiny on his side or something like that, if you believe in that sort of thing, because to survive on 1 HP and to get the perfect lineup for the rail, that is certainly a great turn of fortune here.
And if there is one man who is probably equally as calm and composed as vo, it's probably DaHang.
Yep.
So he does, whilst he has rounds to go, there is still a chance for DaHang.
Let's see those classic DaHang rockets here. Always very well known for those projectiles as we see the engagement here, and that's it. vo nailed to the wall there by DaHang's excellent railing abilities. There's now vo off the spawn, looks to try to pressure with that starting shotgun. It's very dangerous. You've got to give it the respect. And vo actually creates space with that extra bit of damage and pressure to get himself the weapons and the heavy. He's actually in a good spot here. DaHang has to be cautious. Goes in for the drop though towards the LG. Knows he's in trouble here. Good rail there from vo as DaHang is forced back.
And since the first round, when DaHang has made this definite adjustment in playstyle, he's seen much greater of effect.
Oh my
What the
God.
hell?
How? And that's exactly what I was talking about. DaHang's rockets are sometimes completely phenomenal. I think vo was convinced he had that fight in the bag in more than one way, but somehow DaHang pulls it together, keeps himself in this one in a highly pressured situation, catches vo close range. Oh my goodness, the plasma trail. It's a quick finish to vo. Brilliant stuff there from DaHang. He is not dead just yet.
Definitely not, and this is what I like, taking the fight to vo, then you find yourself on an even kill. If you let yourself on the back foot, vo will walk all over you, running rings around you on the map. But if you can go to him and hit disgusting shots like this, you still have a chance in this game.
DaHang, you absolute beast. Showing vo that he needs to have a bit more respect for DaHang once again as DaHang now takes himself around, but vo still just a mere single round away from bringing himself into the finals here as DaHang starts this one off well. As we go into the 4th round. And here goes the pursuit from vo. He's got quite the stack on Sorlag, but again, you don't want to push the issue. If the engagement's bad, it's bad. You go for the disengage and find another solution.
I think that last round was a little bit of a wake-up call for vo, just to say, hey, I need to slow this down. The pressure's not on me, the pressure is on DaHang. If he wants to win this, he has to come at me. So we might see a little bit more of a reserved vo, should I say, as opposed to previous rounds.
Speaking of reserved, he's crawling on the lower levels of the map here, looking for a sneaky play, trying to catch DaHang off guard. What is vo going to be able to accomplish here? Goes for the rocket jump, perfect timing, really ballsy play there, and that's the mega under the belt of vo. And what else can he find here as he picks up the light armor? Definitely wants to take a fight, but perhaps no fighters available because DaHang is playing the defense once again.
That's what you can do when you have a big stack and you know the timing to the split second. Both players now playing quite reserved. The one thing that, even though DaHang would like to pay the pace up, you cannot be running around the map, because if you run around this corridor into a Sorlag, you're almost certainly dead.
Defending that mega health. The heavy is up as well. Ooh, a bit awkward there. Looks like DaHang has an ability to go for the heavy, but actually, oh no, vo's on top of him straight away. This could be devastating. Looks like he'll be able to get out of that one, but he's going to take quite a lot of damage. The Assist bit doing so much, And DaHang, I think there was a lot that he could have gotten out of that situation, but in reality, vo got pretty much everything.
For sure, and this is the problem when you have this 5-second split, because on Ruins of Sarnath, you can get both items exceptionally quickly. And the only way for DaHang to stop the sword lag coming in is to hit 2 or 3 rails prior to the engagement. If he does that, then the sword lag just cannot jump down onto you. But without doing that, this is what we have to see DaHang doing, backing off and keeping a nice, safe position, because the sword lag is too big of a stack for him to challenge it.
This is smart by DaHang. I think he, is guarding the heavy jump pad there, realizing that that was the next item spawning. Now it's going to be the Mega. Big split between these 2 items, a good 10 seconds or so.
This is dangerous. He shouldn't be around here.
Let's see if it's going to be capitalized upon by vo as he comes around the corner now, going for that push onto the Mega, using the Plasma Trail on the Mega. He's going to pick it up during the fight. That's what you need to do in DaHang's position. He's still strong. He will take the acid split, though, and it looks like he's going to disengage back onto the Heavy, which is the next item. This is perfect from DaHang.
I like it. I like it. I said he shouldn't be around there, but that was a nice little sacrifice-esque move, leaving the Plasma Trail all over the item. And at the end of the day, play to win. I think that's the key.
Yeah, DaHang is definitely not playing scared at the moment. He's looking quite formidable at this point. Great stack on him, looking to capitalize on a vo who is really without much in the way of armor. And now, again, we can see DaHang on more items. And this is this is sort of what we saw vo with Anarchy doing for quite some time, just able to run the map. And now vo's in that position. They're playing defensively, having to disappear. But it's pretty hard to disappear when you are a massive lizard.
Yeah, but this is the magic of the Dutchman. He does manage to disappear like nobody else.
Decent rockets. Oh, how on earth did he connect that one? vo with these flick rails is really schooling DaHang, at least in that category.
And again, there is a huge split. This Slash is in trouble, because after the red armor, I imagine the Lizard's going to go berserk.
Sitting on the Heavy now, and there's not really much that can be done here from DaHang's perspective to challenge this one. vo will take that, and vo is in an insane position from a stack perspective.
This is nice, because DaHang would have expected vo to push, and so by playing passive, he was hoping that DaHang might retreat into his path.
This is quite interesting now, of course, because both players
30 seconds to go.
Yet to be down a champion, indeed.
Exactly, so this is the most precarious time in the match, because one kill will maybe win or lose you a QuakeCon final place.
vo, can he get a capture here of that Slash? Can he force him into a weird engagement? Sliding around though, very quick, able to quickly change the direction. vo going for a bit of speed there, using that rocket jump against the wall to try to get himself onto position. Somehow dodging the rockets of DaHang as he picks up the Mega. Once again, vo still in control of these big items.
Nice there, DaHang leaving the Plasma Trail, but he doesn't know vo's coming down the back way.
And there it is, the acid split connects, he picks up the Heavy mid-fight. Oh, he's done it! vo! How has he brought himself to this position? No one would have predicted this. Once a champion so many years ago, and now he gets another shot at a title.
I would love to see the guy that predicted a Claws vo final, but where the hell are we? That was absolutely flawless play from vo, and like we said countless times, the way in which vo has adapted his game throughout the series, throughout the tournament, able to play fast, able to play slow, hitting the flick rails, hitting the air rockets. This man is back to his best. He is a machine.
This is really exciting stuff. I mean, we're seeing that true competitor come out of vo again. The reason why we've seen him in so many finals before, the reason why he's feared by pretty much everybody.
This guy was the guy that didn't even qualify from the regionals. He is lucky to be here, and now he has made a QuakeCon final. I think that in myself would say, as you say, it is perhaps destiny. The fact that he had the fortune to be here, and he has really made the most of it. Very proud for him.
And I mean, the thing to think for DaHang as well, he's played exceptionally well to bring himself into this position. And neither DaHang's not going to be walking away too sorely from this one. Obviously, still, short of that 3rd place as well for QuakeCon 2017. So DaHang once again proving that he is one of the best in the world whenever he picks up the mouse and keyboard.
Great play.
Yeah, looks like we have Red Eye on stage with vo. Some words from vo now.
Thanks very much, Dan. Sana, first of all, congratulations. You are now in a QuakeCon championship final. And I know how much it means, but explain to the world what it means to you.
Yeah, being in a final of Quake On, an event I've attended many times. I've watched it many times from home. It's an amazing feeling, man. Like, I can never imagine being in a final tomorrow, and yeah, I'm really, really happy.
When the game ended, did you not realize you'd won? You kind of looked at the screen, but
I just couldn't believe I killed him at the end there. Like, it was a super tight fight. It could have gone either way, and I got lucky and I got the kill. But yeah, I knew it was sudden death. And earlier in the match, actually, on Blood Run, the same situation happened. I thought I killed him, and I thought I won, but he still had a champion left. And then basically this is the other way around, but yeah.
it's all right. We're getting older nowadays. You've got to enjoy these moments. One final question. I just want to ask you. It's been 12 years since you won a tournament. You're going to sleep well tonight, and then tomorrow, are you going to erase all those nightmares from 12 years?
I wouldn't call it nightmares. I've played in many finals. I've won a few. I've lost a few. But yeah, tomorrow is definitely one of the biggest finals of my life. That's for sure.
All right, well done today. vo is through to the grand final. Let's catch up with DJ Wheat and the boys at the desk.
Yep, congratulations to vo. Of all the games we saw today, there were only 2 2-0s. The first one was DaHang 2-0ing Rafa. The second one was vo 2-0ing DaHang. That sets up for the finals, which will take place tomorrow here for the Quake World Championships. Claus versus vo. The third, fourth place match will be Cooler versus DaHang. Gentlemen, I want to hear what you have to say about this matchup. vo, obviously very humble player, but I think if there's a player that deserves to be here, someone who has literally dedicated so many years of their life to Quake. I remember so many games of vo's that I casted back in CPMA, and honestly, I think it's just phenomenal that he's here in the finals.
Just look at his reaction when he won. You know, the passion of not just winning, but it's passion for Quake. You know, you don't get to this level without having some passion for Quake, and you can see how hard he's worked. And you know, when you get to that point, you work it's very hard at something. You put in all these hours, and to finally just get it. I mean, he's not there yet, but I mean, he's so close, and he can taste it.
One step closer.
Yeah, he's one step closer.
And he's talked about as well the amount of time that he's been putting into Quake recently, the amount of hours of practice that have gone in, not just for Sacrifice, but for Duel as well. And it's just I think it's releasing all that tension now and knowing that that practice has paid off. He has played such a phenomenal series as well. He played his game this time, and he wasn't playing defensive and over-conservatively and giving too much respect like he did a bit against Avec.
Yeah, I agree.
He played his style, and it was stunning.
I agree, and I'm looking forward to see how that's going to match up versus Claus tomorrow. Let's take a look at those brackets because we start off with 16 players. We're down to just 4. Claus and vo will battle it out for that grand final championship, and in third place, Cooler will face off versus DaHang. Still a great matchup that we get, and then the one that will follow it, Claus versus vo. It is the old blood versus the new blood.
Absolutely. I mean, Claus versus vo, they were actually in the same group together.
Right.
They had a really tight series then, which Claus grabbed that first seed spot, getting the victory in the end, but it was a really good game. I stood behind their backs watching it. Very, very tense. You can expect a spectacular grand final.
What do you think, Vic? We got old blood versus new blood as a storyline we've been talking about all weekend long, and it is happening. It's right in front of us.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I'm happy for Claus. I'm glad a new players made it through the ranks like this, so I'm very curious. I don't know. Honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb here and go against my typical predictions of, of experience and this and that. I'm going with the young buck on this one. I think he's going to take home the trophy. Now, he's reminding me again what it's like to be, 19 and a stud as a gamer. So I think vo's playing really sharp, though. vo is certainly in the zone. Who's going to eat their Wheaties tomorrow? That's the question.
Well, I hope both players do, because Claus is going to need an extra bowl, because he's not only competing in duel, but he's also competing in team sacrifice. And a reminder, we've got not only the semifinal matches, but the grand finals as well. And there you see it, 2Z taking on the defendants in #1, and then Team Liquid versus Not Too Fast. So a lot of the players that were knocked out today still have a chance to make it into, well, they've already all made it into the money, but make it into the bigger money here for the Quake World Championship. What do you think about these matchups really quick? Zoot, I mean, I'm super excited for all these teams that we got.
I'm really excited to see them as well, but I gotta say 2Z have been looking so strong in the practice leading up to it. The highest percentage that any team have got against them so far is about 66 or 67. They haven't dropped a single round yet, so I don't see any way for anyone to take them down.
I mean, I guess the other question would just be, do you think any other team could take it over 2Z, Vic?
They looked really strong. You know, you hate to say, like, it doesn't look like anybody else has a chance, but other teams are going to have to step up and make some kind of adjustment because based on how they looked yesterday, they look like the team to beat. I mean, without a doubt. So if I'm going to play a little home field, you know, yeah, I'm rooting for Team Liquid, you know, but in the end, what my head tells me...
You're allowed.
Yeah, I'm allowed to have a little bias, right? But what my head tells me is that 2Z is looking really strong.
I mean, a lot of people are already saying 2Z versus not too fast finals is what to expect. But as we've seen, just about anything can happen here at the Quake World Championships, so I would not expect to...
I don't think 2Z will drop around, in my opinion. They're going to take it all.
Do you want to
I'm bold with that.
for that again?
By the way,
just to let you know,
I've won a beer here.
That's correct. We made a friendly bet before the match, you know, since it was Europe versus USA, and I owe him a drink, apparently.
Yes.
So,
Apparently.
apparently. So
It's in the contract. It's in the contract.
It's in the contract, yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you a thank you for joining us today for another day full of Quake action here at the Quake World Championships. I hope that you will return tomorrow, and we've got Paul out on the stage to close out the day. Thanks for joining us. Paul!
The decision to bring champions into Quake came from Quake Live. Adam Pyle came up with the idea of adding an enhancement that would incorporate abilities into characters, and it was going to be a game mode. That was it.
One thing we wanted to do with Quake Champions was provide a way for you to move as you did in every previous Quake game. One thing I was often asked was, hey, are you guys going to make a sequel? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with movement? Are you going to keep crouch sliding? Are you going to keep strafe jumping? It dawned on us early on, with a future Quake game, we wouldn't necessarily have to choose. Instead, we could build this concept where we provided those options that you could play like you did in Quake 4, you can play like you did in Quake 3, or you could have even the movement of Quake 1. But the general idea is that each champion represents a different movement style. Characters kind of could have special abilities, but still be fairly balanced.
So we prototyped it in Quake Live, and we found that it was actually really fun. We felt, why don't we take this idea of champions and really expand it? And I see kind of a natural evolution of the first-person genre now, moving towards more champion, hero, kind of class-based shooters. Because people like to associate themselves to a character or a class, and it adds a lot of depth and strategy to the game that goes beyond just kind of running and gunning.
The goal is to be true to the Quake franchise and the expectations of what it means to be a Quake game. You have to evolve and you have to make something that's fresh and new and interesting.
Esports is all about a good balance in characters and not one being superpowered that can actually affect the outcome. The idea behind the champions and esports is that it's all skill-based.
So how do you take skill and you add champion abilities but not mess it up? The champion abilities, they don't really change the way you play, but they do alter the way you play. And the passive abilities don't really change the way you control your characters and you move, but they do enhance the way you control your characters and you move. We didn't go too far, but we went far enough to make a difference.
We'll probably introduce a new champion every 2 to 3 months and introduce new metas for people to experience.
People that complain on the internet, you are ruining my Quake because you put champions in it. Just go play that Quake. Quake Live still runs today. But if you want something new, and I feel that it's something better, because we're evolving the game and we're pushing it forward, champions really works out well.